it's the concept of making 7 figures a year. You can get there by having 10 different income sources, and it's a lot easier to build a business that makes $100,000 a year and have 10 of those versus one business that you scale up into something that nets you $1 million per year on its own.
Welcome back to The Broke Billionaires, where we document our daily struggles in building wealth while raising a young family. Join us as we talk creative wealth building for everyday people and couples that are struggling in a down economy. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Joshua Masari, and we'll be your hosts.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Here we are, another episode.
Another day, another episode, another night, late night.
It is late night. These late nights are getting hard.
It's getting hard to fit these in, I feel like. Things are getting busier. The kids are going to bed later.
Yeah, what is this?
You're getting more and more pregnant.
I am getting more and more pregnant by the minute. We are down to the wire. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We'll see how many more of these we get through before this baby comes. Let's see. Let's start with some updates tonight.
Okay.
So we talked a couple episodes ago that we had booked our first peer space shoot for one of our other properties.
Yeah.
And we had that shoot, which was fun. It was not as big of a to-do in terms of production as I thought. What did you have expectations?
I didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't really sure because this is, once it airs, we could probably talk about it, but we won't say anything about it now.
Yeah.
But it was basically this production company rented one of the properties to film the outside of it for a reality show. And I don't know, we'd never done one of those. So I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know if they're going to have all this big equipment and this big crew there.
Well, I was just kind of thinking from the ones we've seen in our neighborhood that have done it, they've had a lot of camera crews there.
Yeah, I think that's what
and those might have been commercials, though, I think.
So, I mean, just seeing the other people that were doing it, it was more of a production. But because this was literally just the outside, they just wanted it for like the intro into those scenes. So... And I thought maybe they'd be doing like overhead, drones and stuff. But because of the proximity to the airport, they were not allowed to use the airspace, so they couldn't get a permit for airspace. So everything had to be done. They had like these selfie sticks that were like
they were tiny.
They're like 20 feet tall. They extended out, so it was like trying to like mimic the kind of a flyover sort of angle.
Maybe I saw the thing for the time lapse then. I don't know. What I saw was a really small little setup.
Oh yeah. And so then the whole time there was a time lapse. So they had like the sun, kind of shifting and the shadows shifting. And then as the sun was setting and then the lights showing and whatnot. So that, they did time lapse and did some various parts of the day or of their shoot. They did different angles and different sunlights and just got all these different stuff. Anyway, so
once it airs, we could talk more about it. But it was kind of fun to do that, and I don't know, we'll see our house on TV.
Yeah, maybe we can raise the price once it
maybe
airs and people recognize it.
That'd be
as seen on TV.
That would be fun.
Double the price.
Yeah, seriously. What else? Let's see. We are awaiting basically final sign-offs for our project we've been working on, right?
Yeah.
Is that the last round of them?
Everything's finished up for the most part. I know that there's going to be a few corrections because I guess everything's not completely done. But there's a couple of questions that I have for the inspector, but for the most part, we should be able to get plumbing signed off, mechanical signed off. Electrical final, I'm sure there'll be some corrections, but everything's done. And then building final, there's going to be a few corrections with the stairs because it's not fully completed, but I have some questions on how to do that before I do the work and have to redo
Redo
it.
it.
Yeah, so I figure I'd just wait on that and
Yeah, that makes sense.
get whatever other corrections there are and get everything done at once. So yeah, that's exciting. That's
looking good.
Next couple days the
Backyard
inspector will be
got
here.
pretty much done.
Mostly the back patio's done, the ceiling's done. We got the barbecue islands finally showed up and are not complete, but the frames are there and all the accessories and everything. We just need to get them all wired, get the gas plumbed and the electrical wired and do the exterior.
I'm so excited about that champagne sink.
Yeah, that will be cool.
Is that what it's actually called? A sink?
Champagne.
Saw it from Heather Dubrow, had it in her last house in her kitchen island.
Oh, that's where you got the idea.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure did. This one's much smaller. But we'll work up to a Heather Dubrow size champagne.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to. This is definitely like the coolest outdoor entertaining space out of our properties. So hopefully we can actually maybe utilize the property one of these days, like between bookings or something, host some cool outdoor backyard events.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
I'm really proud of this house, everything we've put into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream home. It's and we've actually had a lot of interest on it. We've had several offers that have come in, and we're getting offers for both furnished and unfurnished, and nothing's been confirmed yet. It's either an offer came in and it was lower than we wanted, and so we're holding out, or some of the people want it now. We had it was either 4-month or 8-month booking that wanted it fully furnished that was ready to move in today.
Yeah. Still not quite.
And it wasn't quite ready. We're getting sign-offs this week and we haven't fully furnished it. And so, we told them we could have it ready in 2 weeks. And it was a situation where this family had moved into town. Like they had just flown in a few days earlier and we're staying in a hotel and we're here on for work on a contract. And, they needed it now. They don't want to wait a few weeks. So
yeah, and we're kind of trying to wait to see best scenario. Does it make more sense to do a furnished rental or unfurnished longer rental?
Yeah, I mean, if we get, at this point we'll do it either way since it's not furnished yet. And if we get an unfurnished, a good unfurnished offer, it may make more sense to take that because it's not going to be as much revenue, but I think it might make it a little easier to get the DSCR loan approved rather than doing a midterm rental because they want to see at least a 6-month lease in place. So if we don't have a 6-month lease, it might make it kind of hard to get that approval.
I wonder too, with the size of the house, if a longer term rental is going to make more sense. Like, I don't know if the need for a midterm rental with this many bedrooms is as
well. There's not as many people needing it for it.
Definitely not compared to
there's not as much demand.
Our other one.
No, but if somebody needs 5 bedrooms, we're the only 5 bedroom in Costa Mesa. Yeah. So it's gonna fetch a premium for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know which direction we're gonna go, but once we get the permits signed off, then we can kind of start ramping it up the marketing and figure out what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
In terms of that.
What else? We're just kind of going through co-hosting and kind of building that side of the portfolio a little bit too, which has been fun and getting more opportunities. I won't say it's just another thing we're doing with the kids too, right? More late nights, early mornings, and like today we threw the kids in the car and went to go check on a property that we had cleaned, and that's kind of something that we're really good about is checking in on our properties and making sure that the cleanliness and everything is up to our standards. And we made it a full family affair tonight,
Yeah.
for better or for
Yeah.
worse. But I think in doing so, it's important because we're teaching the kids what we're building, right? Like they're seeing us do the work. They're seeing us.
Yeah, and they know the properties that we have, and
Yeah.
we've explained to them that, why we don't live in them, and people pay us money to live in them, and that helps us, make money to pay for where we live and to buy groceries and things like that. So they are understanding the concept of what we're doing. And, we have these other properties that are co-hosted. So we say, no, this is somebody else's house, and we're just helping them, to rent it, and they're giving us a little bit of money to help them. So they're kind of seeing that firsthand, building a business.
Yeah. Really instilling in them. I mean, we're pretty open and honest with them about kind of our situation right now and the struggles we've been through. And we talk about it with them in a very age appropriate way. And I think that it's good for them to see kind of all the hard work that we're putting in and hopefully building something that'll make things a lot easier in the future
Mm-hmm.
for all of
Mm-hmm.
us. What else? We're just kind of coming into this busy season of life. We're at the end of school year and everything's picking up and summer's around the corner. Obviously, this baby's going to be making its debut at any time. I will say, baby number 4, how would you say this differs from the first time we did this in terms of like being a month out from, not even, we're like 2-3 weeks out from having this baby?
Well, I feel like we were, I don't want to say more prepared before, but I think we were more,
Set
oh,
up?
well, I think it was more like we had never done it. So we were like overly prepared and like, oh,
Yeah.
we got to have this, we got to have that. Now I think we're just like, we'll just fit them in, the kid will just show up and then we'll just figure it out and it's fine.
I mean, I remember freaking out when we had our first because we were in that 2-bedroom townhouse and the baby didn't have its own specific nursery. It was shared with your office. And I was like freaking out about that. I was so sad that our baby wasn't going to have its own nursery. And now we're, like I said, 2 to 3 weeks out from having this baby. Everything is still in storage. Like if we had this baby tonight, we don't have an outfit for this baby to come home in. We don't have anything here.
Yeah, and the reason that reason for that is because we're personally like in limbo on we don't even know where we're going to be living day to day. We have a long-term tenant in one of our properties that's going to be moving out mid-June, and so we're not going to go settle down somewhere and we don't want to just move. Like we're just kind of in this waiting pattern right now. It's just
Really,
timing
really
wise.
fun waiting game.
Yeah, timing wise, it's not good timing with the baby coming. This is just everything, just bad timing all around, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make it any easier, just makes it more difficult. So that's why everything's still packed away. It's like why we're not going to unpack everything and then pack it up and then move. It's just we're just trying to make things easier on us.
Yeah. But it's just funny, like the mindset too is like normally I'd probably be having panic attacks that we haven't rewashed all the clothes and had everything in dressers and ready to go. But I guess 4th time around, you just know you're going to be okay. You just figure it out.
Yeah.
I did think today, I was like, we don't have any newborn diapers. We would definitely have to pick those up on the way home. We might be doing a lot on the way home from the hospital this time around. Yeah. What else? We joined a new life group at church, a couples one. So on top of everything else we're doing right now, we just decided to add another late night event into our schedule. And I think that it's something that we had been talking about for a while. I'm really involved with the church with a bunch of moms groups, and I think it was important to us that we were able to start getting involved in things together as a couple, and an opportunity presented itself, and definitely not the most ideal time, but here we are. And adding that in,
Yeah. So it makes for some really late nights and
really, really late nights.
yeah.
I think that I'm excited to get to a season where we can slow down a little bit, and I don't know if that's coming or not. I think maybe I'm being naive in thinking that, but
Probably.
I don't know. We'll see.
If you think things are going to slow down with a new baby coming, you're in for a surprise.
I think I'm just thinking about like the newborn bubble, and maybe I just want to like be there for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
sense.
start of summer, like don't have to rush off to get the kids to school. Could just kind of be a little slower pace.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I can see that.
I don't know. We'll see. All right. Any other updates?
Oh, I'm sure there's lots, but it's I don't know. There's lots going on.
There's
so much going on. I can't even like focus on one thing right now. I feel like.
I know.
But I think just like, walking our kids through everything that we're going through and teaching them, about the business, because they're very aware that I go to the office and I go, what are you doing? What are you going to the office for? What are you doing today? You're going to go do shipping. You're going to ship things to customers. And so they know that I have like the work life or the office life for that business. And then, they know that we work on properties on the weekends and then we rent them out and make them all nice. That's what Braxton says. We make the houses all nice, working on the house to make them all nice. And Beckett says beautiful, making the house all beautiful. So we rebuild these houses and make them all nice and beautiful. And then we rent them out and people pay us money to live in them, and then teaching them about the co-hosting, kind of the property management side and what we're doing there. And I think it's really, really good that we're instilling that in them and kind of teaching them about earning money.
Yeah, I think so too. It kind of, I saw something on Instagram this week. It was going viral. Ben Affleck talking about his son wanting this like ridiculous pair of Nike Air Dior sneakers that are like $6,000. And he was saying, okay, like, how are you going to work for that? It's a lot of lawns you're going to have to mow, or what's your plan on getting those? And he said, well, we have money. And Ben Affleck's response was, no, I have money, but you are broke. Like, this is not, we want to give our kids everything, but we need to teach them how to work for it. And I can't imagine our kids ever coming to us asking us for $6,000 pair of sneakers. But I think it just, everything's relative, right? And just teaching them, now there's things that they want and things that they like to do. They love to like go down to Balboa, get their hot chocolates. Like, we have them work for that. We have them do chores and just be able to think about like looking at the money in their wallet, like adding it up. Do they have enough money to do things? Like, I think just.
Yeah, which we've done with the lemonade stands and whatnot.
Their first lemonade stand. That was so cute.
And they went and blew the money the next day.
Oh my gosh, they did. At the little toy shop. It was really cute. But then now they say, like, they walk past a toy shop and they say, can we do another lemonade stand so we can buy another toy? And I love that. They know sometimes not to ask us for it, but they are starting to kind of catch on to how to work for something and
making that connection.
Yeah, putting that connection together, which I think for a 3 and a 5-year-old is pretty good.
Just a quick disclaimer. The information shared on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified professional before making any financial decisions. Your individual circumstances may differ and require specific strategies not discussed here. Now, let's get back to the show.
All right. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, we're going to talk about something that I've been talking about for several years. And
it's like we met, I feel like you had first started talking about
I don't know when I first had this idea. It was probably 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I've never actually done this, but I've always kind of had this in the back of my mind. And it's the concept of making seven figures a year, so making $1 million a year in income. So not just a company that's grossing that, but actually making an income of $1 million a year. But instead of just having a company that blows up, makes it big, and getting there, the idea is that you can get there by having 10 different income sources. And the reason I say that is because it's a lot easier to build a business that makes $100,000 a year and have 10 of those versus one business that you scale up into something that nets you $1 million per year on its own.
Yeah.
Um, Now, maybe it's easier if you have one company because it's only one company and one thing that, one focus you have to worry about. But to get to that point is few and far between. So it's really, odds are against you
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the situation is. Like, it's hard to get to a level where a company kind of breaks free and is spinning off that kind of, no, it happens. I mean, there's tons of businesses out there that have done that, but for every business that makes it, there's 10 other businesses that have failed and not gotten there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and like you've said, in a way, there is a component of luck that kind of has to play into that to get to that level.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. I mean, you can work hard and do all the right things, but
Yeah.
if it's a bad economy or something that just there's just certain
Things
factors
have
that, like
to align.
timing, you got to have a little bit of luck on the timing thing too. So,
Oh.
but I've noticed that in the businesses that I built, building a business that makes $100,000 a year is fairly easy to attain. And then, once you scale up past that, that's when you start running into problems. Now, again, you can certainly do that and get past that and do really well with one business, but the chance of survival of businesses of that size goes way down. And building a business that makes $100,000 a year is really, really not that hard. But the idea is, if you can build a business that makes $100,000 a year and then multiply by 10, so either 10 businesses or it could even be investments. So, we kind of focus more on investments. Just having 10 different income sources that are making you $100,000 each per year to get you to that $1 million. So, you don't have to have a big corporate job and be the CEO of this big company to get there. You can just do this with these smaller investments and smaller businesses and get to the same level of income with less stress, less responsibility, less liability. Again, 10 different income sources is a lot to manage. It's still a lot to manage, but there's so much less going on in a $100,000 business versus $1 million business.
So would you say, and maybe you're getting to this, but 10 different sources of income being 10 different like genres of income? Like, or could they all be real estate? Or do you think that it needs to be all different types of
No, not necessarily.
industries?
It doesn't need to be spread out. I mean, you're spreading. You can mitigate your risk by not having all your eggs in one basket. So it's good to have diversification in those income sources. Because certain businesses or investments might do well in one economic environment and not as well in another. So it's good to have a balance so that you're staying constant with that income. But I think that it doesn't really matter if it's all the same area or not. With the point is they're just different businesses. Because as you scale a business up, you might be able to run a business on your own and make 100,000, and then maybe you can get it to 200,000. But you to keep building, you have to start taking on maybe it's more space that you need. So you got to take on bigger leases. Now you got more overhead. You got to have more employees that start operating. So now you've got employee salaries that you got to take on. Not only employee salaries, but now you got to have workers' comp and all these other things that you start adding and overhead, and it just starts to get it's really hard to scale when you start needing more space. Now, not all businesses need that, so there are certain businesses and industries that may not need that, But a lot of businesses do need that, and as you start taking on those leases and salaries, it's cuts into your profits, and now you need to generate 4 times the income just to maintain all this overhead and be able to scale up. So a lot of times you'll see company, like for example, when we did the couch business,
Mm-hmm.
when we were first starting out, the first few months, when it was just us doing it out of the garage, we were making as much money as we were
Yeah.
doing $500,000 a year because we had so much overhead. So
Right.
we were scaling up, trying to break through, and we just never did. But if we went back to the beginning, when there was no stress, there was no liability, and all that comes with a bigger business,
Right.
what we were making at the end of the month, we were pocketing just as much as we were with the big man. I mean, at
Putting
some points,
so much more effort into it.
we
at
might
that
have
point.
actually been making more than a lot of times, just because we didn't have all the overhead that we had to cover, and it was just a part-time thing at that point.
I
So
mean, it was always part-time it was full-time hours, but still wasn't ever your
right, but at that point, it wasn't
Yeah.
truly part-time.
Yeah.
So I think it's and the other thing is too is you've got to be able to build a business or find an investment, an income source that is not too time consuming. You don't want to be spending 40 hours a week on something that's making you $100,000, because that's going to eat up all your time. You're not going to be able to balance your time between these different income sources.
So to be able to do this successfully, though, you have to be able to move your hats quickly and wear a lot of hats, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you definitely
you have
do.
to be able to manage your time really well and
Yeah. And
be able to kind of have that shift in what you're doing.
yeah. And I think also trying to build a business or income source, investment of some sort that either doesn't take a lot of time, or something that you can scale to the point where it's not too big, but you can hire somebody to run that company for you and then be able to pay them a salary. So, say a company, maybe you get a company up to 200,000 in net profit, and it's starting to take a lot of time, but at that point you can hire somebody else to run everything for you, and you can just remove yourself from that company, and you're splitting what that's making. So they're getting 100,000, you're still making 100,000, but now you're not doing anything. So, now you're using, I call it OPT. You always hear OPM, which is other people's money, using your other people's money to fund a business and scale
Other
it.
people's time.
But OPT is other people's time. And I think that's
like
actually it can be more valuable than OPM, because you have a limited amount, money's unlimited. There's money, you can raise all the money you want, and you can, it depends on what you have, but I guess I shouldn't say it's limited, but your time is completely capped. There's no way you can't buy more time in the day. You are completely capped on how much time you have.
You know that well.
Yeah.
Didn't someone tell you to do that with editing the podcast?
Yeah.
You should take your own advice sometimes.
That wasn't my advice.
That's true. But you just said it. Other people's time.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully we can get to a point where that's not something that we have to do.
Yeah.
But I think if you can be smart about it and build these different income sources to where, you're only spending, 4 or 5 hours a week on each one, then maybe you're working full time, but it's across 10 different income sources.
Yeah.
So, for example, we've got several income sources now that we're building.
Do you have examples for like what?
Yeah,
what
so like the printing company we have is not a good example while I'm working in the business, because it does take a lot of time. It is a full-time business.
And that one you have to be physically on site for.
It takes, it
does do that all remote.
So that's something that I need to, and this is, the plan is to either sell it in the next few years, or to be able to find somebody else to run it and take on those day-to-day operations, because it does take up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good enough business, and it's gotten built up, and it obviously is down right now because of the economy, but it'll come back around as people start to spend more money on marketing and start to rehire again. But at the height of it a couple of years ago, it was making $400,000 a year
Yeah.
and then so as it got real big, and then I did start to hire people, got leases in place, expanded, made everything easier so it would run more efficient, and then a lot of the business went away. So
Well, it's that catch-22 of like, where do you need to invest in your business to grow it, but then where are you going to still be profitable, right?
yeah,
It's a very fine line.
yeah, and that business is really dependent on the economy too, because when the economy's down, the first thing that companies cut is the marketing budget.
Yeah.
And then they cut employees. They start laying people off, and that's both are a big part of that business. That's where a lot of that comes from. So once that kind of got turned off, it just made it tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll come back around, and it's got a big enough clientele base that it's got some value and some definite potential. So as it builds back up, I'd like to get somebody in there that can run. It one person can do it. It's just I've got so many hats I'm wearing that it's very difficult for me to do it because I can't always be there. So
yeah,
it makes it tough. So
yeah, I think for an average person that goes to a job and is there all day and maybe doesn't have
for one job you get there like 9 or 10 and you get off at 5 and you're done, and then you get weekends off and you'd be able to manage everything. But for me, I've got so many other things going on that I have to be at and take care of all the real estate and different income sources that it's very difficult for me to just dedicate all my time to it.
Right.
So yeah, that could be a good one. If I can get somebody else to run it for me and keep maintaining that income. We got the rental properties, and here in California, one rental property can make $100,000 a year.
I was gonna say, so you would kind of separate those out, not just put those into like one category,
So I mean, the way we kind of run them is we run each rental property as a business. Each rental property is kind of set up as its own entity. Even though the ones that we have are in a personal name and not in an LLC, we still run it as if it's a business. We, each one has its own bank account. We file for taxes. Each one gets its own Schedule E that we file. So it's very much set up like it's its own business. And those are more passive. I mean, obviously they still take time to do, especially the midterm rentals, but it's not taking a lot of time. It takes
no, and it's not a consistent. I think if we were on a short-term model, that would be a lot harder.
Yeah, so we might spend 4 or 5 hours a week on all of them together.
Yeah.
We got to go over and manage turnovers and whatnot, but then somebody's in there for 2-3 months at a time, and we don't really have to do anything.
Yeah.
I take the trash out at the one property once a week.
That's
and
more
things like that, but
really just email communication and really communication with the.
But I mean, we have one property that's got 4 units, and that the gross on that it's close to $150,000 a year in gross, and it's about $100,000 in profit. Maybe not quite there, but it's pretty close. So that's a really good example of one that we have set up that doesn't take a lot of time. So that's a really good one. Once we get this other project finished up and rented, and now one has a higher carrying cost. So even though the gross rent's going to be up there, it's not going to profit as much right now. But once it gets refinanced and stabilized, it'll get a little better, and then down the road we'll find ways to continue to grow that with rising rents or getting better financing terms in place, and we'll be able to maximize the profits on that one. And the other one we're getting ready to the one that's currently a long-term rental property, that one has been making about $60,000 a year. Payments like $2,500 on that one. So it's not quite there, but what we're going to be doing on that one is planning on trying to add 2 ADUs to it, and then do those as furnished ADUs like we do at the other property, and then make the main house a furnished rental as well. And once we do that, then it'll be, I think, close to on par with the other property.
Yeah, I think
so we'll be able to get a lot closer to that $100,000 mark with that property as well. And
that
then
sweet spot of those like 1-bedroom studios is really, at least in this area,
there's
the
so many.
demand.
We have so many
Yeah.
requests for 1-bedroom or studios, just single
Mhm.
people that need a place for a couple months at a time. And I've had
You've turned
two
away a
texts.
lot of people.
I had somebody text me last night. Somebody text me just a little bit ago, like, "Hey, like I saw your
Mhm.
studio in Costa Mesa. Like, I'm interested in renting it." I'm like, "Oh, sorry, it's not available till next year."
I mean, the people that have been in it have, I think, all at this point extended, right? Yeah, I think they,
Some of them will come
or
back. Some of them
one
repeats.
one wants to extend and it's not available
But
for 6
regardless,
months. Like, it's
there's like
crazy.
20 requests a week for
Yeah.
these in our area. So there's a lot of demand.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to co-host a property that's got a couple of these
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
property.
that'll be
So,
interesting to see how that one does.
and I see a lot of requests in that area too. So I think that'll probably do pretty well.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if you're finding value or just want to follow along on our journey, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That would help us tremendously. You can also follow us on Instagram at The Broke Millionaires and be sure to share with your friends. Now, let's get back to the show.
So then we also have our LLC that does co-hosting. We run all of our co-hosting business through that. And in addition to that, we also charge a property management fee for the other properties that we manage. So it's like we kind of use it as a property management company for our own properties. So it takes a little bit of cut of the properties that we're managing. And then on the co-hosted properties, it takes the profit from that. So with the co-hosted properties, typically on a co-hosted property, we do the midterm rental, furnished midterm rentals, and we're looking for properties that are gonna make us about $1,000 a month.
Mhm.
We don't really like to take anything that's less than that, unless it just kind of makes sense. But typically, that's kind of what we're shooting for.
Mhm.
So we've got a couple of these all set up, and we've got several that we're onboarding and several that we're talking to, and if we get 10 of these set up, then there's another $100,000
Yeah.
right there. As long as we can be successful at that and manage all those properly and keep them filled, that's another $100,000 income source. And again, doesn't take a lot of time. It's a lot of time on the front end, getting them set
The
up
front end,
originally,
yeah, it's getting those set up, I think,
getting all
is
the processes in place, figuring out what that
yeah.
property needs. But once you get it up and running and everything figured out, you kind of have it on autopilot. And
Mhm.
then, you do the turnover every couple months and get somebody else in there. And it's, once somebody moves in, there's really not a whole lot of maintenance to worry about.
Mhm.
So that's another good one to be able to add to the 10 sources of income. So we've got a few things working. We got a few more that we need to add, but maybe we can work in like the 12 house blueprint that William Tingle talks about.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we would only need to do like 4 of those to be
Yeah,
able
that's
to
true.
get there, and that would be another $100,000 income per year once we had that up and running. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of ways you can do this, whether it's business or passive income, but just trying to find these income sources that don't take a lot of time. But I think this is, once we get this up and running, and again, this helps to diversify your income too, because if you just have a job that you're making $1 million a year running a company, and all of a sudden you get laid off or there's big cuts or whatever,
Well, like you said, like the taxes you pay on that, like it's
yeah. And well,
crazy.
that's another thing too, with these other, doing it this way, you get a lot more tax shelter because, your business, you're able to offset a lot of the income. Once you get to $1 million on one business, you start losing some of those write-offs and the ability to offset the tax liability. Whereas with these smaller businesses and passive income and investment properties, you're able to tax shelter that income and not actually pay taxes on it. So this is an easier way to make $1 million a year and not pay taxes on any of it.
Yeah.
So that's another advantage of doing it this way for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much sums it up, but that's kind of what we've kind of been working towards. And I think I want to focus on that a little more, just building towards that business model, because I think that's really going to help, create financial freedom and diversification and a decent high income to be able to live off of.
Well, and I think it plays in nicely where obviously we're feeling this of, the printing business and that being down. And had we been at a point where we had already built up some of these other streams, it wouldn't have affected us in the same way that it has. And so we're kind of living through that right now.
Not being diversified as
Not
much.
being, not having as much of that in place.
And obviously there's other things too, like finishing up this other project. So all the money that we have had has been going into that.
Right.
So had that been stabilized before things got bad, that would have helped a lot.
We had a lot working against us.
Well, Sturgeon also, that property we were finishing up. So as things kind of got bad, we had these properties that weren't performing because they were still under construction.
Yeah.
So, once these ones are performing and stabilized, those will be stabilized for for ongoing. So, in another down economy, I think we'll be a lot more prepared and have a lot more things chugging along to be able to carry us through.
Yeah, I agree. When you first thought about this, did you have like an idea of what you wanted all these streams of income to be, or you just kind of knew like that's just
I think
where
it was
needed to be?
I think at that time it was more like the idea of building a business, because I knew getting a business to $100,000 was fairly simple.
I think you were more not as investment driven back then.
Yeah, and I think I was, but not in this idea. It was more kind of businesses. But now seeing what we are able to make with some of these passive investments, like I don't care where the money comes from. It's like what takes the least amount of time.
Right, exactly. Especially as
and with the investments, it's also like with the properties. Not only are you able to generate that $100,000 income, but you also are getting the appreciation as an added bonus. So you get the depreciation and the tax write-off to offset the income that you're making, so that you're not having to pay taxes on it. And then you get the added bonus of appreciation to be able to pull out at a later time.
Well, that's what in our interview with Luke a few weeks back, I think it was Luke. He was saying that it does matter what type of business you're starting, because you're not going to have the same tax benefits in everyone, right? So that is a good point of having the real estate. You get definitely some more tax benefits than you would for other industries.
I think my mindset's changed too, just knowing now what taxes can do and how detrimental they can be to your wealth building. And I think I'm more wealth oriented now too, because before, when I was younger, it was just like building a business, making money.
Yeah.
But then as you start to accumulate wealth, it's kind of like, okay, let's get that snowball going, because you don't do anything for that. When your wealth starts to build on its own, it just starts to do it on its own, and you're not having to actively work for that money.
Do you feel like part of that is once we started a family?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, I guess. Just being able to have more time. I think you start to place more value on time when before we got married, you were working more than I was, and so we were just kind of go working all the time.
You've said recently you were like bored basically before we had
on the weekend.
Yeah.
When I only had one business and I had weekends off, and
I was working a lot. I mean, we were traveling obviously when I had time off, and we were doing that a lot. But otherwise, you were.
Yeah, I think the older, as you get older, you start to run out of time. But I think you start to value time more.
The freedom of time.
With the family, being able to spend time with the family, and just, getting older, it's like time becomes a lot more valuable. So how do you free up? Because time's the one thing you can't buy, but what you can do is the amount of time that you have, you can not work so much. So I think it's just freeing yourself up to become financially free and be able to do whatever you want with that time, rather than having to work to survive.
I agree. Yeah.
You agree?
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
I do.
Or you're going to say something?
I was trying to figure out what I was going to say, but it'll come back to me.
Maybe next week.
Maybe next week. I don't know. This pregnancy brain's really, really affecting me right now.
Yeah.
We're having mild contractions throughout all of this. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. So it's
we're really getting.
This is an active pregnancy at this point.
Yeah, not active labor, I would say, but we're getting real close.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me though on that. That's I think what we're going to focus a little more on is just trying to build these different income sources that are more passive and don't take up so much actual personal time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll be a really good solid model to build and live off of.
I think so too.
We'll see where it goes. We'll report back maybe a year from now and see how much of these have gotten
we'll do
going
a check-in. Yeah.
how it's going and yeah. And you know, realistically, like you may have one of these 10 businesses or investments, whatever, that just takes off. Like maybe one of them does take off and you do start spending more time because maybe you get that one that just blows up and becomes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's okay if you start spending more time on that. But if that's making up for it, that's, you know, that's great. But now you got 10 chances of something blowing up rather than one of one. And if it doesn't make it, then you're starting back at square one.
Right. So you put all your eggs in one basket and it's just not if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we've seen that, right? I've gotten laid off multiple times. We know people that have been doing very well and next day lost their job and it's not planned for it. So it's definitely something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely.
Diversifying for sure. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Are you reading anything right now?
I'm actually getting ready to start the book that Nate Green put out. Suck Less, Do Better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited. Just the title gets me excited.
I know.
So,
I like that title.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of see how that, like, see if it, get some motivation from it and maybe unlock some potential that I don't know I have, or just, I don't know, just kind of maybe it'll give me a different take on what we're doing. So
yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Okay, report back after you read it.
Yes. And that was last episode. What episode? I don't even know what episode we're on. What's this?
What is this?
This is 28. So it was episode 27. If you
that was a great interview too. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to that one. Yeah. His story was good for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the title of that book. That is a good one. All right, report back after you read that. I think that's it.
Yeah. Like the show, share it, tell your friends if you're getting value out of it. We are actually, I think we just hit another milestone in our downloads.
3,000. Yeah. A couple new countries too, I saw.
Yeah.
2 new countries, actually.
2 new countries?
Austria and somewhere, like, I had never heard of this country. It was near the Philippines.
Huh.
Really small country, but I definitely had to go look up where that one was. And we're getting close to 400 cities now, which is exciting.
No idea who's out there listening, but thanks for listening.
No idea. Thank you to all of you that are listening. We're very grateful. It's motivating for us to see those numbers. You know, I'm checking them daily. I don't know about you, but I like to check daily and kind of see where we're at, and that definitely helps give us some motivation to keep this going and get creative and have new content, and like we said, continue to push for getting more interviews. And we're excited for we've had to have a couple interviews rescheduled just due to some weather stuff and things like that, but we're excited to get more interviews, and you know, they're fun for us because we're learning something new each time too, and getting to meet new people, which we love. So if you know anyone that wants to be on the show, would make a good guest, please connect us. We would love that. What do you say? You did. You said like and reviews, always helpful. And then make sure that you're following us on Instagram and TikTok. I'm still trying to figure out TikTok. I feel so old on this. I really do. This is not my forte. So bear with me as we kind of work through that one a little bit. But yeah. We're trying. We're trying.
We're doing it. Yeah. We're making it happen. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Get out there and make it happen.
of Rebuilding the Dream Studios.